Hello guys, this is Shining Noctowls, and tonight I wanted to do a very particular video, and I think this can really speak to not only people just in North Idaho, but potentially also to those that live in other states or cities. While I understand this may not be applicable to every area someone lives in, I figured this would be a good video to make because I've really, with the amount of time I've lived here, I've really noticed a financial and I guess socio-economical gap that has developed over the past 20 years I've been living here. And I want people to know, at least for anyone who lives in North Idaho already or who plans to potentially move or visit here, that North Idaho or Kootenai County really can be affordable. It's not as expensive as um, some of the realtors in the area, I'll refrain from mentioning their names, but they do have YouTube channels, and I just want people to not be kind of dissuaded when they see the really high numbers on their channels when they, talk about median house price being half a million or being just a relatively unaffordable amount for low to middle income people. Because, you know, I know the housing crisis has really affected a lot of people as of late, and, it really has been a tough time for a lot of people, especially, as they've been braving the pandemic and whatnot. And I just want people to know that for someone who is low to lower lower middle income, I made around a modest income around $20,000 last year, and even with that, I was like, even though it was a wee bit tight, and even though I got a little bit of help with COVID, like I think it was a $1,800 stimulus, so it helped me pay most of my taxes. Um, you know, I was able to get by, and you can find places here. Depending on if you're willing to look into Post Falls and other areas, where you can get rent still for at least under 1,200, 1,100 a month, and even though that may seem a wee bit high, it actually isn't too bad. A lot of the buildings here are fairly new, at least the ones they're coming up with, and even when you compare the rents to places like Iowa and Kansas, for the same like quality building, not even just the area, uh, Idaho's rental rates are still really good. And plus, we have like one of the lowest like car insurance in the country, as well as utilities, which that helps for those who factor that in. And groceries are pretty fair too if you know where to shop. I personally enjoy shopping at Grocery Outlet because it's a very colorful store, and I like a lot of the people there. They're really friendly. So and uh, and yeah, so you can definitely for those who are low to middle income, you can still live here at a pretty reasonable rate. And even though houses are kind of expensive here in the area right now, like, where you have like 10 to 20 different, buyers or bidders going at a house or whatnot, um, you know, for like $250,000, 300,000, 400,000 or more, that's happening pretty much everywhere in a way. So I wouldn't let the whole housing craze get to you guys, because although it may seem a wee bit daunting at the moment, these things will eventually cool down, and we just have to be willing to just be grounded enough to recognize not to get too embroiled into it, and and yeah, as far as the rent is concerned, I mean, my rent only went up $50 for the entire year, so um, I mean, I signed it back in 2020, so it was like the April or May of 2020, and yeah, so far it's been a lovely place. I really like the staff here. The residents are fairly friendly, and or the other residents, and it's nice to be next to nature and to be next to the community as well. And I just want people to know that North Idaho really is kind of like going to Tokyo. At least since I've been to Tokyo before. Reason why I use this as a reference is because you can either go to the restaurants in a high-end restaurant in Tokyo and spend $100 for a meal, or you can go to a ramen shop and spend $4 to $5 for a meal as well. And I just want people to know that's the same thing here in North Idaho, where you can go to a really expensive restaurant, spend a whole ton of money, or you can go to your local Pizza Hut and get a really nice stuffed crust pizza for a decent deal. And Idaho, North Idaho, with the amount of years I've been coming here now that I've been living here more year round, it really has been a nice home for me. I recently did a trip from Post Falls, Idaho, where I live, to Shelby, Montana. And I actually did a video on that. And when I did that trip, it really helped me recognize what home really means to me. Because at first, when I was going to Shelby, the realtor was actually very nice. Her name was Michaela. Very nice, very amiable, very pleasant person to speak with. I really enjoyed speaking with her. Um, you know, um, they have very affordable housing in Shelby, like a lot of homes under $100,000. That's pretty affordable for people like me. but anyways, yeah. So when I was making that trip, I recognized, despite the high housing prices in North Idaho, I really recognized what home really means to me, because I do have friends here that I connect with and that they, support and care for me at times, and I try to do the same for them, and I really resonate with the area here so far, and I just want to, and it just helps me recognize, that home really is more than just a building, and even though I went all the way to Shelby because I told Michaela I would, and I told her, Michaela, I really appreciate you spending the time to try to help me to potentially relocate, but it may just not be a good time for me to move because either Shelby may not exactly be the place for me, or I may just need time to really think about things. And when and I remember when I drove back to Idaho, it was a pretty neat experience, and even when I was driving in the dark, I was glad that I was, guided back home because it really helped me recognize that house or no house, I still have people that care for me there. And I think that's the important thing to recognize whenever we move anywhere or wherever we live, whether or not we own a house or not, it's really important to recognize, what really matters, and I think what really matters is just the people you connect with, and I think, while I could, potentially, move to either Shelby or Cut Bank and, get a fairly affordable house, I think that being around people that I resonate with and that I can connect with and that care for me and me them is even more important than that. And I hope for people moving all over the country, like the people either from Washington to Montana or different places. I hope they will recognize that too. That that a home is really more than just a house, and that it's also important to be able to connect with the community too. And to actually physically visit there and to really get an idea of where you're moving to. That it's definitely more than just a price tag. And yeah, so and like as far as like renting here, I mean, even though like the housing prices can be a wee bit high, renting is pretty fair here. I mean, you can get a decent unit for a decent rate depending on if you're willing to live on the outskirts of town. And even though that may not necessarily be for everyone, for those who are willing to do it, like do a 20 to 30-minute drive to town, it's not too bad. So, um, and they're building a lot of new apartments here. So as time goes on, the rent here should balance out, within a year or so. And so I just wanted to let people know that because I know a lot of people have been really, both local Idahoans and people coming from outside, they may be, a wee bit unsure about the state of, our place, and I think, I just think it's important to recognize um, that that wherever you move to or whatever you buy, whatever you rent, it's always important to really recognize the people around you. And I know with COVID, I think that may have caused a bit of a disconnect because, for a wee while and, still in some places, because in Idaho they recently lifted the mask mandate, people were, I don't want to say antisocial, but, they didn't really go outside as much other than, maybe grocery shopping as much, and people didn't talk to each other as much, and I think that's why uh, that maybe, for a wee while, I don't want to say that there's been a disregard of community, but I think that may have been one reason why, some people may have been more willing to move out of different states because since they weren't able to communicate with their community, they felt since they felt cut off from that, they felt that the only other alternative was to focus on housing. But I really think that's going to change, like as COVID continues to wane, which it already has. I think eventually, once people, it as more areas, have people have their masks taken off, and as more people communicate with one another, as the pandemic wanes down, it's going to really bring back that sense of community, and I think that then that's going to really help people have a broader understanding of what an area really means to them. And and I know not everyone's like social. Like I know some people prefer just to either go to work, stay, and then go home and not talk to anyone. And I understand like how some people may prefer to live that lifestyle, and if you prefer to do that, then that's your prerogative. But I really think that community and learning to share and connect deeply with people is really important. And I think that here in North Idaho, whether it's getting a warm welcome when I go to Entertain Mart, to buy stuff for my eBay store and help them out, or whether it's when I go to grocery outlet and get my groceries, there really are a lot of friendly people here. You just have to be willing to spot them. It may not necessarily be as easy as it once was per se, but if you really are, in tune with your senses and can really recognize the people who actually mean well here, and there really are a lot of people who mean well here. Speaking as a now local, or well, since I've been coming here for 20 years, I might as well be half Idahoan at this point. Yeah, I came from a town in northeast Florida called Jacksonville, and yeah, I've been coming up here since I was 6 years old. Mainly in the summers, but sometimes in the winters as well, only for a few weeks, but and even though it's taken a wee bit getting used to with the winters here, it's definitely been a nice change, and it helps you appreciate the springs and summers here more. So so yeah, I want people to know that Idaho, or I maybe not just here. I mean, pretty much anywhere, I guess, because every place has its own community. Every place has its own sense of home, and I think that regardless of where you live, I think that there is at least some measure of merit to it. And and I just want people to know that for those moving here, or for those still here, even that home is definitely more than just a building, and you can definitely still enjoy home even if you don't own a house. And because whether or not you own something or own where you live, um, it's still you still get to be part of the environment and get to connect with people that you like connecting with, either digitally or in person. And and yeah, I just wanted to give people a wee bit of hope, a wee bit of reassurance, a wee bit of, despite a lot of people and news articles and even realtors dubbing this place the hottest real estate market in the country, I want people to know that even though that term is being used, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's unaffordable or reserved for only a select number of people with a various financial kind of uh, uh, financial wealth, I guess is the best way to say it. And that I really think that whether you're wealthy or low to middle income, it can definitely be a home for pretty much anyone as long as you're able to um, just willing to um, just navigate through things. And I yeah, I just felt like it'd be good to share that. And for anyone who watches this video and finds some solace and comfort and maybe you know some some rest within my words, I hope that will definitely help. And for me personally, this has been a great place where I've been able to build myself from the ground up. You know, I came here, I still living with my mom and her boyfriend, and I got my license here. I got my permit here, my license. I got my first car. Oh boy, that was a tooth and nail battle, but after 8 to 10 hours, I was able to get a $3,000 to $4,000 discount on that. Oh boy, that was the story. And what else? I got my first remote work here. And I was able to really get my eBay business, have it take off. I sell a variety of Pokemon and trading Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, as well as other miscellaneous items. And I've been doing this for around 7 to 8 years now. And I remember when I only made $50 to $100 a month back in the day. It wasn't enough. It wasn't. I mean, it's not that it wasn't enough. It wasn't a lot, but I did it because I really enjoyed it. So, and and I still do it to this day. And fortunately, it's gotten to the point where even though it doesn't make six figures or anything like that, it makes a modest enough income to where I can take care of myself and pay my bills for the most part, and for my kid cat and and it's definitely been good. And I so yeah, I thought I would share that with everyone. I really think that for anyone who really wants to build them build them build themselves, well, build themselves not just only here, but I mean, I guess pretty much anywhere in a sense. You really can do that if you just have the mindset to do that. And for me, now that I'm living on my own with my kitty cat, even though it's been a wee bit tougher, it's definitely been a good experience for me, and I'm really glad I I'm really glad I decided to take the leap, take the leap of faith and just be able to just believe that things will work out. And to just be able to stay strong during the storm. And I think that things will level out, not just only here, but pretty much everywhere else, um, or a lot of other places. So I know it's been a wee bit of a challenge for the country and the world as a whole, but things will eventually cool off. Just have to be patient. Just have to keep putting another step, uh, taking another step forward, and just have the strength that things will work out and things will will be taken care of. You just have to believe and have to have the strength to keep walking forward, keep going onward, keep finding the strength to live, keep finding the strength to just to be able to find a meaning in life and meaning on this journey we all are partaking in. And I think that things will eventually change. Just have to keep chugging along, just like how I do with my eBay business and other things, I guess. But at least the customers like it, and for the most part, I got a near perfect positive feedback, which I appreciate. And even for the ones that are neutral or negative, I try my best to be as constructive about it as I can, because I really try to do my best to be inclusive to my customers when I can. Anyways, guys, I hope you all take care, and I hope you all have a good rest of the evening. Bye bye.